Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and on today's program, a little overreaction Monday after a fantastic 44-10 win, absolutely drubbing the Baltimore Ravens. In so many levels, the Texans needed this. Not only were, you able to get the, Ravens dark cloud above from you, out from above you, with losing to them the past couple times, embarrassingly, you also get your season back on track. This Texans team, they were 1-3 heading into this game. They needed to win this game going into the bye week if they wanted any chance to, do something at all this year. And they went out, regardless if it's against a, lesser opponent, they went out and handled business today. And I'm proud of this Texans team for doing that. I don't care if it was against, a depleted Ravens team. They went out and did what they needed to do. They handled business and got the dub. That leads me to this question. Are you back in on the Texans after this win? The money question that all Texans fans are going to be talking about over the next week and a half, couple weeks. Obviously, they have a bye week this week, so no Texans football next weekend. After that, who knows? Who knows where the Texans will be and how high we'll all be on the Houston Texans? Let me know down in the comment section. Yes or no, are you all the way back in after this Texans dub? All right, before we get into today's program, if you're new to the show, one, make sure you hit that sub button for daily Texans videos all year long. But two, this is how we break down overreactions, rumors on this show, our Toro Heads meter. So if I give something 0 heads or fake news, not happening. 1 Toro head, small shred of truth, it might happen. 2 Toro heads, think of it almost like a 50-50 shot. People are talking. 3 Toro heads, pretty likely, and 4 Toro heads, H-Town, hold it down. First up, I asked you all this question, are the Texans back? My overreaction, are the Texans back? 2 Toro heads. I think, the offense went in the right direction. The defense was able to stop Derrick Henry and Cooper Rush in this Ravens offense. Obviously, you're not going to get a ton after this game because the Texans just dominated in all 3 phases, and they were obviously the better team out there. The Ravens, they were without a ton of their starters, and it showed. The Texans were able to dominate and were able to capitalize off that. At the same time, I think, sometimes you need a victory like this. Sometimes you just need, something to go your way. I always talk about, basketball. Sometimes you just need to see the ball go in the basket. And they saw that today. They were able to finally get a dub today up against this Ravens squad. And, the offense, I think it looked a lot better. Obviously, you're going up against lesser competition, but it looked so much better up against the Ravens. CJ Stroud looked more comfortable, right? 25 of 31, 250 yards, running the ball. 5.1 yards per carry, 33 carries, 167 yards. No turnovers, a big one. You led the time of possession, and you had 417 yards, 6.3 yards per play. This offense was rolling. You were able to get the rookies involved. I loved what I saw from this Texans offense. Nick Caley, maybe there's some hope on the horizon that this offense is turning a corner. I'm hoping it was just, some kind of beginners, start of this offense. So many moving pieces. You needed time to gel. Hopefully, this was able to get them going in the right direction. You get positive momentum going into the bye week. Number 2, Stroud looked so much better. Obviously, yes. 3 Toro heads. He looked fantastic. 6 touchdowns, 0 picks over the past 2 weeks. And, albeit it was against the Titans and the depleted Ravens, awesome today. Besides a couple of miscues, I would have given this 4 Toro heads, but there's still, pre-snap adjustments that I think CJ Stroud needs to work on. There was a couple times that the Ravens sent blitzes and the Texans weren't able to completely pick it up, or, Stroud was kind of left out to hang. I think you need to clean a couple of those issues up. But besides that, this offense, CJ Stroud looked much more comfortable. He threw a couple deep shots. That deep ball to Christian Kirk looked awesome. He was able to kind of sling it around. Also was able to get a lot of different people involved. I think CJ Stroud overall looked much better, and he's on his way to go to the right direction. A lot of people were already out on CJ Stroud. Were already ready to, talk mess about him and kind of be done with CJ Stroud. Not so fast. CJ Stroud is a great quarterback, and I think he'll continue to prove that going through this year. A little bit low to start the year, but hey, no better time than the present for CJ Stroud to turn it on, right? Number 3, the Texans have a great rookie class. I'm going to go ahead and give this one 2 Toro Heads as well. Overall, I think they did a good job. You got Jayden Higgins. I think he's still a good wide receiver. Jalen Noel got into the end zone, first touchdown of the year. Aireontae Ersery is kind of coming into his own as the Texans left tackle. I think maybe the best sneaky pick of this draft, Woody Marks, the running back. He didn't have, the numbers that he put up last week, but he was amazing in terms of blocking. Like being that extra blocker in the backfield. I think he actually might be the best blocker at the running back spot that this Texans team has. You look past that, Jalen Smith, decent job as a backup corner. We don't really know where, Jalen Smith is at this point. Then, back into the roster guys at the end of this Texans draft. But the core guys, the, top guys that this Texans team got, and then that's not even mentioning, Jalen Reed did not play in this game. He'll likely be back week 7 when the Texans, play Monday Night Football up against the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Texans have a really good rookie class. And, do I wish they might have, would have gotten a offensive lineman, an extra one in there? Sure. Aireontae Ersery is good, but I can't lie, seeing Gray Zabel and some of these other guys dominate is Tate Ratledge, among others, is a little annoying. But I think overall, the Texans got some really good rookies, and I can't wait to see how they develop throughout the season. Jalen Noel, congrats on your first touchdown in the NFL, man. We have some more overreactions coming up in just a moment, but if you need a brand new Texans jersey, no time better than right now. The Texans 2-game win streak, so go ahead, get them while they're hot. This link, chatsports.com/Texans jerseys, will send you straight to the website with a ton of deals. Now, I've been saying the kind of disclaimer, the Joe Mixon jersey is on sale right now. Take with that what you will, but they have Will Anderson Jr. Jalen Petrie had a massive game up against the Baltimore Ravens. We'll actually talk about him more in just a second. But like I said, if you need a brand new Texans jersey, use this link, chatsports.com/Texans jerseys. All right. I said I was about to talk about Jalen Petrie. Was it the right move for the Texans to move on from C.J. Gardner-Johnson? I'm going to give this one 2 Toro Heads. I'm going to say yes for right now. It's kind of in the middle. Do we know what he would have turned out to be with the Texans? Yes. No, maybe so. But I think you see a lot more gelling in this locker room. You see a lot more, of guys who are, the camaraderie's there. And I'm not saying that C.J. Gardner-Johnson was a bad teammate. Obviously, a lot of guys kind of spoke up in his defense after the Texans released him. But there's one part of this whole kind of equation that I always go back to with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Whenever he left, there was a report out by not only Aaron Wilson, but also DJ Bieniemy of ESPN, who covers the Houston Texans, was that C.J. Gardner-Johnson was getting in a disagreement with one of the Texans guys in the secondary and mentioned his contract. The only 2 guys in the secondary that got massive contracts this offseason, Derek Stingley. I highly doubt C.J. Gardner-Johnson was talking like that to Derek Stingley. The other guy, Jalen Petrie. And he showed out today. Massive hit on Derrick Henry. 2 interception day for Petrie. I think the kind of problems that happened with C.J. Gardner-Johnson is he wanted to play the role that Jalen Petrie plays in this defense. And I think the Texans made the right decision. DeMeco Ryans made the right move in picking Jalen Petrie over C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think that's what it came down to, is that he was basically saying, play me in that position or I don't want to play. And the Texans said, you know what? All right, well, we're going to go ahead and keep Petrie, the guy we just paid, and you can go ahead and hit the road, Jack. We'll go ahead and keep Petrie, and we'll let you go along your merry way. That's what I think it came down to. But I want to hear from you folks at home. Did the Texans make the right decision? Who is better right now? Type JP for Jalen Petrie. Type CG for CJ Gardner-Johnson. I'm interested to see what y'all have to say below. I think they made the right move. I think Petrie, he's a hometown kid. He's a great character guy, and I love the intensity he brings to this Texans defense. I think they made the right decision. Let me know down below, do you think they made the right decision? Type JP for Jalen Petrie or CG for CJ Gardner-Johnson. Next up, the Colts. Are they the best team in the division right now. I'm actually going to give this one 3 Toro Heads. I think, yes, they are the best team right now. The only reason I'm not saying 4 Toro Heads is because the Texans have yet to play the Indianapolis Colts. But if you went and watched that game, Texans fans, I mean, it was an absolute drubbing. An absolute drubbing of, I mean, this was just, it was horrific what they did to, I mean, look at this stat line. 40-6 up against the Raiders today. 40-6 up against the Raiders today. They're off to a better start than the Texans. I'll say that. The only reason I'm not giving it 4 Toro Heads right now that the Colts are the best team in the division is they have yet to play the Houston Texans. But, I'll give the flowers when the flowers are due. The Colts, Daniel Jones, I told y'all they'd be a much better team if they started Jones over Anthony Richardson. And look what's happened. The Colts have been off to a very hot start, and they continued it yesterday with a massive win over the Raiders. Now, the Raiders are struggling a ton, but still, the Colts look awesome. Very, very excited for that matchup this year between the Texans and the Colts. I want to see how this Texans team responds to a little in-division, heat being turned up by the Colts and the Jags. And this leads me to my last point. Can the Texans still win the division? You bet your ass they can. 4 Toro Heads, H-Town, hold it down. The Texans hold their own destiny in their hands. They lost to the Jags, but they play them once again. They play the Titans again, and they play the Colts twice. If they can beat the Colts twice, if they can win out the rest of their AFC South games, they're in a good spot. They're in a good spot. They have 4 more AFC South games. Right now, they're 2-3, so if you win those 4, that puts you to 6-3. You can win a couple more. That puts you, around that 9-8, 10-7 number, that magic number that I think that can get you to an AFC South championship game. Now, the Colts, like I said, they're playing awesome right now. They're looking really good. Let's see how that continues. Let's see how that looks midseason, and let's see how that looks up against this Houston Texans squad. That's all I have for you on today's show, folks. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, we're doing something right. Hit that subscribe button. If you don't like it in a week, all you have to do is unsubscribe. But let me prove to you why we are the #1 Texans channel here on YouTube.